This is the story of a man who had nothing. No money, no connections, no future, no hope. Until he discovered one simple truth most people ignore every single day. The hours everyone wastes are the same hours that build millionaires. And what he did during those hidden hours over the next 90 days did not just change his schedule, it completely changed his life. What he learned in those silent mornings might be the reason your life has not changed yet. Before we start, I want to ask you something. What time are you listening to this right now? Where are you from? Drop a comment below and tell me. And please like and subscribe for more videos like this. In a crowded coastal city where people rush through life without ever slowing down, there lived a 29-year-old man named Edward. Edward worked as a warehouse packer for a shipping company that operated day and night. His shifts were long, exhausting, and repetitive. Every morning at 7:30, he returned home, drained. Every afternoon, he slept heavily. Every evening, he woke up only to repeat the same cycle again. His salary barely covered rent. His apartment was small, dim, and quiet. The ceiling fan rattled constantly. His shoes were worn out. Some nights, he skipped meals to save money. But poverty was not what hurt Edward most. It was the feeling that his life was standing still. No matter how hard he worked, nothing changed. No promotion, no opportunity, no future. Every evening, Edward sat outside his apartment building, watching office workers return home laughing with friends and families. He would stare and ask himself one painful question. Why does life feel like it is moving forward for everyone except me? He had tried to improve himself before. He watched motivational videos, started online courses, and promised himself he would change. But after every exhausting shift, sleep always defeated ambition. Slowly, Edward began believing something dangerous. Maybe this is simply who I am. Then morning changed everything. At 4:58 a.m., Edward was returning home after an overtime shift when the city bus broke down on an empty road. The streets were silent, no traffic, no noise, just stillness. And that was when Edward noticed an older man sitting beneath a streetlight, reading a book as if the morning belonged to him. Confused, Edward walked closer. "Sir," he asked, "why are you awake at this hour?" The man smiled gently. "Because these are the only hours when the world cannot interrupt your future." Edward frowned. "What does that mean?" The man closed his book. Most people spend their lives reacting to noise, but successful people build their lives during silent hours. Edward sat beside him, exhausted but curious. The man pointed toward the empty streets. "Between 5 and 7 in the morning, nobody competes with you. No calls, no meetings, no distractions. Just you and the person you could become." Edward laughed weakly. "I am too tired for that." The man nodded slowly. "That is exactly why your life has not changed." Then he handed Edward a small notebook. "For 90 days, protect those hidden hours. 1 hour to build skills, 1 hour to strengthen your body and mind. No excuses, no skipping. Then watch what happens." That night, Edward made a decision that frightened him. He set his alarm for 5 a.m. The first morning felt unbearable. His body resisted. His thoughts begged him to sleep longer, but Edward forced himself out of bed anyway. At 5 a.m., he sat quietly at a table, learning digital and business skills from free online videos. At 6 a.m., he walked through the silent streets while the city slept. Nothing felt magical. Nothing changed immediately. But for the first time in years, Edward felt like he was no longer surviving his days. He was building something inside them. The first week was painful. The second week felt even worse. But around the third week, something unexpected happened. Edward woke up 2 minutes before his alarm. His body was adapting. His mind felt sharper. His confidence slowly grew. At work, Edward began fixing small problems, using skills he learned during those hidden morning hours. For the first time, people noticed him. "Edward," his supervisor asked one afternoon, "where did you learn all this?" Edward smiled quietly. "I stopped wasting my mornings." By day 60, Edward no longer felt like the same man. He had discipline, direction, confidence. And most importantly, he finally believed his future could become different. A few weeks later, the company offered Edward a better position in operations management with double his current salary. That evening, Edward called the older man. "You were right," Edward said softly. "My life changed." The man laughed gently. "No," he replied, "you changed. Your life simply followed after." 1 year later, Edward had moved his family into a better home and escaped the survival cycle that once trapped him. But the most important transformation was not financial. It was personal. Edward no longer waited for life to rescue him. Every morning at 5 a.m., he still woke early, not because he had to, but because he understood something most people never realize. Hidden hours do not just change schedules. They change identities. And if you are listening to this right now, the same hidden hours are waiting for you tomorrow morning. The question is simple. Will you use them, or will you waste them again?